Great. Welcome to the open mic event for Virtual Reunion 2020. This event's hosted by Jelana Ordman, class of 1998, and current member of the Alumni Board. I'm April Wolford, Director of Alumni Relations and class of 1992, also the producer of this event and the other virtual reunion events.
There's a wipe for the tushy and a wipe for the hands. Use one for each and you'll be glad. But if you have to use only one, then please use it first on the hands and then the tushy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I took a walk on the field in your eyes. You picked a flower to shower the skies. Yours was a smile on the face of the sky. Push clouds away. They left. Well, a lyrical miracle just meshed in my mind. Needing somebody and someone whose time is in time. Is a kindly divining, doing D's and F sharps, strumming on guitar and blowing on harps. Well, a magical madrigal would be so nice and sweet, but a beat-up old ballad could still tap my feet. In a manner of singing songs, singing along, my strength it feels stronger, my minutes seem long. So, mister, won't you play with me, sing with me, look at me, mister, sing of the song. Though I heard that one recently, sang it some friends and me, I still think I'd like to sing along. Well, singing it alone can put a hair on my soul, and singing in the chorus, why, I feel part of the whole. But when you and me friendly sing along happily, sunshiny melody, blueberry song. So, mister, won't you play with me, sing with me, look at me, mister, won't you sing of the song? Though I heard that one recently, sang it some friends and me, I still think I'd like to sing along, sing along, sing along, sing along, sing along. Sing along, sing along, sing along, Sing on, sing on.
A vessel named Nordic America flies by at a steady clip. I watch fair young families wave sheepishly at young dark-skinned men ambling brazenly by, smoking a J. I am on my morning quarantined bike ride wondering, have they done their part? Winning some victory for humanity? I laugh out loud to myself, a conscious decision not to cry, but to couch my screams in a language much more well understood here, lunacy. They return, the young men stepping out now from behind my heavy eyelids as if from some long-deferred dream projected only upon rice paper, mosquito netting, an inconsistent and warped unholy screen right up under the I-10. First thing in the morning, smells like urine, gunpowder, chicken grease, peace. My mind travels backward now to the events of last week, to my excitement, my fervor at finding a familiar, similar triumvirate crossing the street, coming out of the spot right next to Manchu at C.C. Claiborne and Esplanade Avenue, boo, all hooded up, young dudes, mouth covered, masked up, eyes out only. The intrigue. Yeah, their attire stirred within me feelings of imagination, passion, fantasy. I saw backcountry bandits and warrior queens. I saw unwitting state-sanctioned agency. I saw a self-imposed freedom from suffering, a reclamation of both invisibility and homogeneity. I saw complexity. Upon myself, I feel the conflicted comfort of donning a burqa descending upon me. The mind retracts even further, reflecting silence, solitude while walking amongst earthlings. The mind retreats, remembering the instruction given with the eyes. Practice custody. Well, that means check yourself before you wreck yourself. Keep your eyeballs fixed upon some point. It matters not what, the dristi, but upon your life it does depend. Best keep them eyeballs from wandering. For me, the instruction has a tendency to rub up against my healthy sense of curiosity and a penchant toward community building. And for others, the same words, they may land upon the skin quite differently. Today, my thoughts bend toward sanctuary. It's Mental Health Monday. How you feeling? Suicidal, honestly. AKA mother wound, weeping. Yeah, you know it's bad. When the very first criminally insane man you desperately gave yourself over to in a blind and pathetic attempt to fill the void your absent father left comes to visit you in your dreams, smiling smugly, wild-eyed, tossing his locks back over his left shoulder haughtily as if to say, nah, bitch, you the one deserves to die in the psych ward, baby. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe. And forgiveness is the only thing to set a sister free. Yeah, you know it's bad when you do your morning meditation. You draw yourself a bath with salts and take it. You hold your fingers in all the right places, trying to, hold your pinky. Remember to breathe. And then for lack of any true camaraderie, or breakfast to be made obligatorily, you habitually click open your social media feed. Yeah, you do not see this morning first thing article upon article extolling the virtues and joys of the single childless woman, a good 74% happier on average than her besotted and baby-burdened counterpart. Nor do your eyes feast upon selective memories from the camera rolls of the 26% of happy families who have not yet received the memo that it is 100% socially irresponsible to be sharing pictures of smiling, happy babies. Because you know that shit might just be triggering for those of us 100% committed to being shacked up with suffering. You think, God, there must be something really wrong with you, because you do not fit in either category. No. You see, instead, an article on the correlation to be made between the rampant lack of nurturing within white families, gun violence in America, and mass shootings. You think about sending this article to your mother's inbox. But then you remember you're not really speaking, because that's how it is with her. And always has been. When you are in need of nurturing, a shoulder to cry on, an ear that wants to be listening, try to remember that acceptance comes first, and then you can work on forgiving. You wonder what the hell happened to her to make her, rendered so incapable of mothering healthily. You want to protect her from herself. You want to go buy a gun at Walmart and take yourself out of the equation entirely, so you will no longer have to be such a burden upon everything and everybody with your too muchness, your emotional and physical needs, your endless battle with feeling you have a right to exist at all. Yeah, you do not believe you are a contribution to society, a blessing, but rather know yourself to be a burden and a drain upon it. Everything and everybody, you hold your thumb, you worry. Because that's what white women do. The research tells us we take ourselves out instead of opening fire on society. Now, sometimes we do it quickly, dramatically, sometimes slowly, methodically. Sometimes we take our children with us. Sometimes we leave behind poetry, but always selfishly. Yeah, we always do it selfishly. We try. We try to tell you that we've been raped repeatedly by our fathers and our brothers, and then expected to make nice for the rest of our life. We try to tell you we've been beaten about the head and face more than once or twice by lovers, by husbands, by family, by the police, for speaking up. For speaking out, for demanding we be treated respectfully, we make it out alive. We want you to be proud of us. But instead we hear, hush up, quit making such a scene. We also hear repeatedly, why don't you make more money? We try to tell you what we really want is for somebody to just stop making it all our fault. For once, just make us a cup of tea, damn it. Offer up some sympathy. Just stop for one godforsaken minute with the where does your responsibility lie in all of this line of questioning. We go inside, deep. We buck up and deal with it, baby, because we're not the only ones. We're just the ones complaining. We make our own goddamn cup of tea. We do our best to fulfill our mother's expectations, to mistress the lifelong mandate to take good care of yourself, because no one else is going to. But then eventually, inevitably, we break beneath the weight of not being strong enough to 100% disassociate. We forget, or we refuse to eat. We binge, we purge, we cut ourselves, we drink. We can still smell the flesh of our women ancestors burning. Especially now, since we are no longer always waking and baking. Your mother does not want to hear you say you figured it all out, finally, after 12 years of therapy. But a therapist can really only do so much. Plus, Why should you have to pay somebody to listen? That's just fucked up. And all those pesky repressed memories, they just keep coming, whether or not your mother believes what it is that you are saying. Your mother wants to watch TV. You really do begin to wonder if it is you who deserves to die in a psych ward, because you really are lying about it all. Maybe you really are making it all up just to get attention, being overly dramatic and creative in your thinking. Maybe you really are over-sexualizing the actions of those who are just concerned about your well-being. And maybe you do truly deserve to have the empty promise of your mother's tenderness and care revoked as a result of making up stories. You remember your tiny body, the feeling of unwelcome hands reaching out greedily beneath dirty sheets every time the energy healer lays his upon you now at nearly 43. You want to vomit. You want to run. You want to shoot someone in the head. You want to bite somebody's face off. You want to feel the warm blood of your abusers cascading down your chin, streaming across the front of your throat, landing in your lap, and gurgling between your teeth. You want to scream, Yemaya! You don't. You just lie there like you always have. Frozen, crying. You fantasize again, just like your grandmother said she thought he might, about your older brother marrying you finally and making everything all right. In the end, you wonder again if it was your mother's father who actually impregnated her at 18. And then you begin to think again. Maybe you really are just truly criminally insane. Your mother doesn't want to hear all that mess. And why would she? She really does still help you out with your car insurance occasionally. Well, she did last month anyway. She really is not made of money. Nor does it grow on trees.
Crying for the Pandemic by Lisa Cohen. And the tears flowed on. People cried for their dead relatives, their dead friends. People cried for their sick relatives and sick friends. People cried for their lost jobs. Children cried for their lost classes and friends. People cried for their canceled events. People cried for their closed stores and restaurants. People cried because they couldn't go anywhere. People cried because they couldn't touch anyone. Everybody cried and cried from all over the world, droplets of tears cascading down faces. Their tears filled up the oceans until there was no space left, and everyone had to stop crying. Pandemic Isolation by Lisa Cohen. It's quiet, too quiet. Little traffic, no rush to go anywhere. I have all day to do what I need to do. I go out for a walk, only see a few people. I try exercise videos and feel like I'm at the YMCA. I spend more time on Facebook, get some useful information, talk on phone, Skype, text, listen to audiobook, attend virtual church service. People are being creative online, playing music, telling jokes. So far so good, but it'll get old soon. I Am Soaring by Lisa Cohen. I am soaring high above the earth like a hawk or an eagle. How wonderful it feels to be floating in the air light as a feather. I am soaring higher and higher till I can soar no more. I reach the top of the universe, free of all my worries, free of stress, no mask on my face, no social distancing, no shelter in place, just floating in the atmosphere. Nothing above me but clouds and nothing below me but earth. I can see the world beneath me. Everything is tiny. I can see from the heights, mountains, oceans, forests, deserts, cities, and suddenly I start to descend slowly, gently, foot by foot, mile by mile, till I land in San Rafael, Marin County, California, USA. I land headfirst on my pillow. I wake with a start. It was only a dream after all, a brief pleasurable respite from the pandemic.
I am Keith Tornheim, a chemistry grad of 1968, but I also became a poet. I met my wife, Susan Firestein, now Tornheim, at Antioch the summer of 1964, her first quarter and my second year. Decades later, I wrote this poem about one of our memorable experiences. Fireflies. Do you remember when the summer skies were full of stars and competing clouds of fireflies, and we walked and talked of everything till kisses interrupted words? In honor of that time, now nearly 50 years ago, each night before we go to sleep, I reach an arm across the bed to hold you close for just a moment. Then you present your lips for that short kiss that echoes years of longer ones. Now we hope to sleep till dawn, but we remember once we walked all night through fireflies to greet the next day's sun. Antioch and Susan first caused me to write poetry. In the winter of 1967, I was on a co-op job in New York. It was a bad winter, lots of snow, and I was missing Susan, who was in France for the year on Antioch Education Abroad. Here is one poem from that time. Together, though apart. We are together, though apart, 1,000 miles bridged by quiet thought, each in our separate rooms, our separate selves, remembering cities held in common. The first glance of choice, concealed in a crowd. A folk dance, the first walk toward dawn. The first kiss on the old stone steps. The first tears of parting, and the next. And after each long absence, a return in the joy of refinding and being found. The cities held in common were Boston, where we had a co-op quarter together, and Paris, where we had a few days together. She was at the beginning of her year in France, and I was on my way home from a year in Israel. Friday night folk dancing on Red Square by Main Building was one of our favorite activities. And the old stone steps, site of our first kiss, were the back of Main Building, facing the lawn. We finally got married in 1971. The best man was my Antioch freshman roommate, Brian Schaffhausen. I had come to Antioch from California, and in fact only got home twice in the 5 years, but I usually got to see my parents one at a time when they came through on business or other trip. This poem was inspired by my father coming to visit me. Waiting for Dad. I'm waiting for the face that's half a mirror of mine, though now the bordering trace of silver and here and there a deeper line distinguish it, the stout and weathered bough from its maturing sprout. I'm waiting for that tread, footsteps that carried me in lullaby to bed, or slower pace to keep my company, and with a gentle hand, once led me on the path I would have planned. I'm waiting for the voice that wiped away my tears and smiled till I'd rejoice, and bore the trials of my 20 growing years. From him I came, and yet the more toward him I've grown each time we've met. Jill indicated she was interested in poems influenced by the theme of facing, dealing with, overcoming tragedies. So I offer these. The first indicates the importance of touch, including at the end of life. This is something that has certainly been compromised these days because of COVID. Hospice. Lips can kiss and whisper words, but hands can hold and caress. So at the end, when eyes and ears are closed, when touch alone is left, the last connected strand of love to show our care and human presence, Oh, be with me and hold me, my arm, my hand, my finger, in the last shadow of embrace, till like a leaf released into a forest stream, I am gone. The next poem was inspired by a conversation with a cancer survivor on the subway. Anger. It's all right to be outspoken, even with a tinge of anger, when death sits on your doorstep and watches you go in and out, and you don't know if you have months or years, if the radiation has worked, or the chemo, or if the cancer is still burrowing in or out, and you lost your hair for nothing. And you watch for fear or pity in the eyes and wonder what that flatness in a doctor's voice might mean. But you have to hope, and you can still be angry. I'll end with a couple poems mourning my father after his death. Clouds in springtime. He died the end of August, so winter was a time for mourning, what with the darkness, the sleet and snow, the cold without for the cold within. And now in early springtime, the trees again grow green, some pink with blossoms. As sap flows anew, so should happier thoughts. The bears emerge from winter caves in search of blueberry delights, and I too climb out. But even in the warm sunshine, at times a shadow passes over. Announcements on the trolley call out Brookline Hills or Brookline Village, where I'm reminded that I used to stop to see him at assisted living and then the nursing home. His body shrank, his mind retreated, yet his smile remained until the mouth relaxed open in the unending sleep, silent, unmoving on the hospital bed. First birthday. It is Dad's birthday, but I will not give the usual socks and card and candy bar. I will not visit him or even call. He cannot answer. I can talk to him here. Tell him of my year, the first without him. The winter was cold and the summer hot, but the kids are fine, and I am too, though I sit sometimes like this, remembering. Thank you.
All right, everybody, have a great evening, and I'm going to go sleep for 2 days.
Good night.